Renegade Immortal, Chapter 620, Object from the Celestial Realm. Hello, welcome back to my channel, Books with AR. When the man in black landed on the ground, Wang Lin's eyes lit up and he swung his right hand. Countless restrictions immediately flew out and sealed all of the hidden meridians in the man in black. Then, Wang Lin casually reached out and used the wind from the finger of death. With his cultivation, he could tell at a glance that there was something strange about the man in black's body. This person's origin soul had no origin energy at all, and instead had a piece of Jade the size of a fingernail. As a result, although this person had reached the Ascendant stage, he didn't have the domain of an Ascendant cultivator. In Wang Lin's eyes, this person was merely a brute. Forget the fact that Wang Lin had already reached the Ascendant stage. Even before he broke through, he could have easily dealt with this person. But to outsiders, Wang Lin's simple grasp was like lightning striking their brains. This caused the people of the Cultivation Alliance to become dumbfounded. The man in gold's body trembled and his face was completely pale. If it wasn't for the fact that the road behind him had been sealed, he would have quickly escaped at the first opportunity. As for the other cultivators, they were all staring dumbfounded at the middle-aged man that was caught and smashed into the ground by Wang Lin. For a long time, they still weren't able to say a word. Only son Yunshan felt like his excitement had reached its peak. He let out a big sigh of relief as if to release all the oppression he had suffered so far. The man in gold trembled and quickly said, "Senior, misunderstanding. This is all a misunderstanding. We're just here representing the Cultivation Alliance to invite you to join." Sun Yun-san sneered as he quickly moved more than 100 feet from the group and shouted, "Brother Wang, their purpose here was to capture you alive." Wang Lin had already seen Sun Yun-san a long time ago. At this moment, he merely nodded. The man in gold's expression became even more pale. Then his expression became even more vicious as he stared at Sun Yun-san and shouted, "Sun Yun-san, do you dare to betray the Ancestor?" Sun Yun-san's body trembled and was about to speak when Wang Lin waved his hand and a gentle breeze hit the man in gold, and his body suddenly exploded. His origin soul flew out of his body filled with confusion. However, he was soon devoured by the black cloud in the sky. The smell of blood hadn't dissipated yet when all of the surrounding cultivators' eyes were filled with terror. He couldn't imagine that Wang Lin's cultivation would have reached such an unimaginable level. With one grasp, the celestial guardian was caught. With one wave of his hand, the man in gold exploded. Late stage Ascendant. He must be at the late stage of Ascendant. Wang Lin ignored those cultivators, but he looked at Sun Yun-san and smiled. "Brother Sun, we haven't met in many years." Sun Yun-san let out a sigh and bitterly said, "Brother Wang, save me." Wang Lin's expression remained neutral and smiled. "Come inside and talk." With that, he grabbed the man in black on the ground and walked into the tower. Sun Yun-san hesitated for a bit before he flew forward and quickly followed Wang Lin. Not only was his shock not smaller than the other cultivators, it was even more intense. He remembered that before entering the demon spirit land, Wang Lin's cultivation was only at the mid-stage of soul transformation. However, in a few short decades, Wang Lin had already reached the Ascendant stage. Aside from shocking him greatly, it also caused Wang Lin's status in his mind to infinitely increase. Only those more than a dozen cultivators remained in the sky. None of them dared to leave or attack, so they could only float there. All of their hearts were filled with uncertainty, and each breath felt like a year. Inside the tower, Wang Lin sat down in the lotus position. He took out a simple, round table from his bag of holding and a jar of fine wine. Then he poured a cup for Sun Yun-san and smiled. "Brother Sun, sit." Sun Yun-san stood stiffly on the side, and after hesitating for a bit, he sat down opposite of Wang Lin and said, "Brother Wang, since you already came, there is no harm in asking me for help." Wang Lin smiled as he put down the wine jar and looked at Sun Yun-san. Sun Yun-san pondered for a short period before picking up the cup and drank it all in one go. Then he grabbed the jar and drank directly from it. only after he drank a majority of the jar before putting it back down. His eyes were bright as he looked at Wang Lin before taking a deep breath. He pointed at the man in black and said, "Brother Wang, this person has no name and is called a Celestial Guardian. We are from the same organization that calls itself the Cultivation Alliance." Wang Lin's expression remained the same as he slowly said, "Celestial Guardian." Sun Yun-san took another large gulp of wine, then his eyes turned slightly red and he said, "There is a person inside the Cultivation Alliance who calls himself the Celestial Realm Ancestor. This person's cultivation level is very high, and it was he who called them Celestial Guardians. In addition to this ancestor, he has about 10 Celestial Guardians. There's not much difference in their strength. The battle you had in Sky Demon Country's ancient demon city with Demon General Mo Li Hai caught the attention of the Ancestor. For no unknown reason, he sent people to capture you alive. I believe you must have already met the people who tried to capture you in Sky Demon City. Then you went missing in Sky Demon City, and this matter was dropped. However, a few months ago, someone somehow found out you were here, so the Ancestor sent us out to capture you alive again." Wang Lin's eyes narrowed. He remembered that back in Sky Demon City, a group attacked him while he was listening to the Zither music. The head of the group exploded when he was about to be captured. Wang Lin remembered this kind of madness in his heart. Back then, he thought that those people were sent by another demon general. However, after listening to Sun Yun-san today, it seemed that there was someone else. Sun Yun-san clenched his fist and continued, "Brother Wang, you don't know that back then my sister used some unknown method and also came to this demon spirit land. She was bewitched by the Ancestor and became a member of the Cultivation Alliance. When she met me, she tricked me into joining this organization. When I found out that something was wrong, I wanted to escape. But the Ancestor appeared, and with one spell, he captured the 4 martial uncles that came with me. From that moment on, the 4 of them had their memories wiped out, and they became puppets. Even I had a celestial seed planted in my body, so now my life is no longer in my control." Wang Lin's eyes released a golden glow and looked at Sun Yun-san's body. This gaze caused Sun Yun-san's origin soul to shake as if it was about to collapse. He had a feeling that everything about him, all of his secrets, were exposed before Wang Lin. This feeling only lasted for a moment before it disappeared. However, Sun Yun-san was covered in sweat, and his gaze towards Wang Lin was filled with respect. Wang Lin withdrew his gaze and pointed at Sun Yun-san's forehead. Then, strands of green lines suddenly appeared on Sun Yun-san's forehead. There were a lot of these green lines, and soon they covered Sun Yun-san's entire body. Wang Lin let out a soft exclaim, and his eyes became serious. He carefully looked at the green lines, then closed his eyes to ponder. Sun Yun-san felt very nervous in his heart. If this celestial seed couldn't be removed, then he would forever be under the Ancestor's control and never be free. After a long time, Wang Lin opened his eyes and slowly said, "The Ancestor called this restriction the Celestial Seed?" Sun Yunshan quickly nodded and said, "That is correct. The Ancestor once said that this was something he got from the celestial realm before it collapsed, and that it is an object of the celestial realm, and no one besides him can break it." Wang Lin's eyes revealed a mysterious light as he looked at the man in black and thought, "This man in black is called a celestial guardian. This restriction is called celestial seed, and this ancestor claims he came from the celestial realm. Could it be Celestial Emperor Qinling? Although this possibility is very low, that restriction is indeed not simple. It contains boundless celestial spiritual energy, so it should be something from the celestial realm." Wang Ling pondered a bit before reaching into the void, then the celestial guardian flew into his hand. Wang Lin's eyes were filled with indifference as he placed his hand on this person's head. Then Wang Lin activated the soul search spell. If this man in black was a real Ascendant cultivator, Wang Lin would not have been so bold as to soul search someone at the same cultivation level as him. However, this person's body didn't have any origin energy. In truth, this person's Ascendant cultivation was given to him by the broken Jade in his origin soul. His true cultivation was merely at the mid-stage of soul transformation. As he searched his soul, Wang Lin's expression gradually became more gloomy. This man's memory was very short. It only contained memories of after he became a celestial guardian. As for the memories before, that was a complete blank. Wang Lin released his right hand, and with one slap, his origin soul was pushed out. Wang Lin's eyes became cold as he spat out a mouthful of origin flame. Then he began to refine the origin soul right in front of Sun Yunshan. Sun Yunshan looked at this, and while his heart was filled with shock, it was filled even more with awe and fear. While Wang Lin refined the origin soul, his gaze swept past Sun Yunshan. He naturally had his reasons for doing all this. The origin soul of this ancestor is indeed strange, so Wang Lin naturally couldn't believe everything Sun Yunshan had said. He still had to do the necessary preparations, like shocking Sun Yunshan and keeping his guard up. The Celestial Guardian's origin soul was quickly refined. The fingernail-sized broken Jade sparkled as it floated before Wang Lin. He stared at the broken Jade and began to ponder. Although this Jade gave off no celestial spiritual energy, when Wang Lin scanned it, he found that it contained an unimaginable amount of celestial spiritual energy. However, this celestial spiritual energy couldn't be absorbed, as there seemed to be a strand of intent inside it. The fusion of a cultivator's origin soul and this broken Jade can create something similar to an early-stage Ascendant cultivator. However, I believe that the success rate of this kind of fusion is very low, or else that ancestor would only have 10 celestial guardians. Also, this fusion can't be as simple as simply merging with the broken Jade. The key must be the intent within this broken Jade. Only by fusing with the intent can the fusion be complete. Ideas quickly flashed through Wang Lin. If the ancestor of the Cultivation Union knew what Wang Lin was thinking, he would definitely be shocked. It has to be said, he spent a lot of time to figure this out. However, Wang Lin only used a few clues, and he managed to deduce 70 to 80% of the truth. Wang Lin's eyes were cold as he slowly asked, "Where is the Cultivation Union?"